A bit of a surprise yesterday. The Kings went into the day without a first round pick. They get into the first round and they draft Nique Clifford from Colorado State. So super excited to catch up with a guy who knows him quite well because he helped bring him to Colorado State. He's now the head coach at Minnesota. Niko Medved with us here. How you doing, coach?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
Dude, we're
We're feeling
awesome.
good.
Of course, after your team makes a pick, you're like doing a deep dive, and there's a lot to be excited about. And so I'm eager to kind of pick your brain on Neek and kind of how he's developed. And his journey's interesting, right? Started at Colorado, then he enters a transfer portal. You wasted no time getting him to your program. I guess first things first, like why was it so important for you to get him, and what did you see in him?
Well, we had really recruited him hard out of high school. We had a great relationship with him and his family. And, he ended up choosing Colorado over Colorado State out of high school. And so when he became, available and decided to transfer, obviously we really knew him well and, thought it would be a great fit. So from a relationship standpoint, we already were really connected to him. We kind of knew about him. We always believed in his talents and his abilities, and it felt like he'd be a great fit for us. So really, that's where it all started. And he ended up coming back to the right Colorado school at the end of the day for him. And man, the rest is history.
Well, I think one of the coolest things too is that you got to see his development, help him grow in those years. And I guess what did you really see from the time that he came to Colorado State to how he finished at Colorado State?
It's a great question. He's such a special young man, and it's interesting. I'll never forget. He came in my office. He had committed, and he was coming in the summer 2 years ago, and we were talking about goals, for the season. He said, "Coach, I want to go to the NBA after this season." This was 2 years ago,
Wow.
and I'm like, okay. We joked, the other day when we were talking. At that point in time, I didn't believe him. I'm like, okay, but I'm not gonna steal his thunder. And we talked about what that might look like. And I always believed he had ability. And so he believed in himself, but he also was a little broken. I
Yeah.
think he had lost some confidence, emotionally, physically, hey, I'm not progressing the way I saw my career going. And so we kind of had to restart that a little bit for him and, build his confidence back up in himself and kind of what we were doing in our program. But he always did have this belief that, he belonged at the NBA level. And so he really took off. Obviously he had a great season for us 2 years ago. We had a terrific team too. But, he tested the waters. He was in the combine, but just wasn't quite ready yet. Came back, and obviously this year he really took everything to another level and was just exceptional for us in every way. And he's more than ready to come in now. And I think the Kings really made a great decision trading up and to get him.
You mentioned he was a little broken a couple of years ago when he gets to you guys. Like, how did you go about instilling like some confidence in him and to get him to help maximize it? Because it's a belief is powerful and
Mhm.
confidence is powerful. Like, how did you guys go about navigating that with him?
I think it's difficult, but I think sometimes you have to be where your feet are. You've got to let go of some of the things that had happened, right, wrong, or indifferent. Really start to believe in a new process. I mean, we had built a little bit of a trust level, but still hadn't played yet, and really asking him to trust me and trust our staff and what we were going to do, and just buy into some of this stuff. And he really did. It's one thing to talk about it, but I mean, this guy, I mean, Neek's a special young man. I mean, in 2 years I had him, he never missed a workout, never
Mm.
missed a day of practice. He lives basketball. And you just saw him. It took a couple of months. Boy, he just started to continue to get better and better and better. And I'll never forget, there was a time, it was about a couple months into the season, maybe not even quite that long, 2 years ago, and he was playing terrific. And I called him and I said, Neek, man, look at your numbers, your career high, and points, rebounds, assists. You're playing terrific. And I said, how many plays have I ran for you this year? And he looked at me and said, zero. And I said,
Mm.
exactly. Like we
Whoa.
run kind of and I'm like, you're just doing a terrific job of just playing the game and just, allowing your talents. Now, obviously, I'm no dummy. We started to, you know what I mean, to continue to grow his role here through that way. But it was just really kind of letting go of all that stuff and just really kind of instinctively playing the game again on both ends of the floor. And once he was able to really get to that, we cleaned up, I think, some of his footwork and his finishing and all that stuff. But boy, that inner talent and confidence
Mm.
really took off.
Yeah, and like you've coached that modern offense and really just like playing free and everything. I guess how do you think? I feel like I know a little bit of this answer. How do you think that's going to translate in the NBA at the next level?
Well, I think it will. I mean, he's just a guy that can impact the game in so many ways, and I talked to teams throughout. I mean, forget offense for a second. I mean, his rebounding is a superpower too. I mean, he was an exceptional rebounder for a wing guard. I mean, as good as I've seen. That translates to your level. Defensively, he's tough. He's got great instincts. He's long. He can defend multiple positions. Bigger guys, smaller guys. He's got great instincts. So right away, those two things, with the way the modern game is going, when you're switching a lot, playing multi, you've got to be able to do those things. And then offensively, he's got great instincts. He can, make decisions on driving closeouts. He really does a great job of making plays for others too when he needs to. So he's really got all those things. And I think the other thing is he can really play with other good players. So he's a really humble. He's got a lot of belief in himself, but he's really humble. He'll know right away what his role needs to be in Sacramento to help the Kings win. And that'll be his mindset. Whatever they want him to do, he will buy into that and understand why it's important and do everything in his power to make that happen. And even when he came back for his last year with us, it was never about him. Now, he was our best player. He led, he did everything, but everything was just about what do we have to do to win.
Something that stood out to us, some guy put together like a huge montage of his passes.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And, because I was, watching the same stuff, reading and seeing like, oh, yeah, defensively, he checks all the boxes and he does so many things out there. But some of the passes, I'm like, my goodness. I mean, we're talking about behind the back pocket passes in the key, the
vision.
jump passes, kind of like Halliburton-esque in some ways. Like, is that maybe an underrated part of his game, or do you think that people know about that?
1,000%. We could see that in high school. He really almost had some point guardish, what I mean, talent that way. He really saw it, and he saw the third level. He could see what was going on, see it before it happened. So no, he's always had those instincts without question. And I just think all that versatility is really what's going to allow him to thrive, at the next level. But yes, that's something that we always saw in him, but I think really started to flourish in him. 2 years ago, we had another young man, Isaiah Stevens, who's now with the Miami Heat, who was our primary playmaker, Nique. And now this year, Nique became, such a primary playmaker for us that I think those talents really showed even more.
I guess too, with so many of these highlights that we've just been cramming into our brains too the last 2 days now, and getting excited about different things. I do think about it at the next level too, and especially with just how the Kings roster is constructed right now, his ability to play off ball. Like, what did you see from him playing off the basketball?
Yeah, I mean, I think hopefully one of the things you do a good job of, I think he knows how to space, he knows how to cut, all those things that you have to really understand at the next level. I think, the offensive concepts that he'll have in the NBA is very similar to the things that he learned in our program. And he's a veteran guy. So I think he'll understand that. Off the ball. I mean, he can do both, but yes, I mean, his primary thing will be playing off the ball in Sacramento. He understands that, but you still need to be able to drive a closeout. You got to make quick decisions in a short period of time. And he'll be able to do all those things, but he still played off the ball more than on the ball for us. Even this year, it was just, when he had the opportunity, he could make plays, but he has a really good understanding and high basketball IQ.
I was reading a piece in The Athletic where they were talking about his development, and one of the things you guys did on your staff was work with his shot mechanics, and he's really improved the 3-point shot, 37% the last couple of years. And I thought it was intriguing because it's not like an easy thing to do to take a player and be like, hey, like trust us here. We're going to tweak some things. You have to buy into it and like just trust the process, even if it's not going well at first. What was that process like in tweaking those shot mechanics?
Again, it's not sometimes not just a major overhaul, but I think like even with a lot of young players, I think his feet needed to get a lot stronger, just his balance, his base. Sometimes he had maybe, slight two motions in a shot,
Mm.
just, cleaning up the one motion, the shot prep, all those things. But with him, Ali on our staff did a great job with a lot of that stuff. But with him, as we talk through him about doing that, it's one thing to do it, but it's another to buy in completely.
Yep.
And then you got to live in the gym, right? You got to be willing to intentionally practice and believe and trust. And sometimes when you're doing those things, you get a little bit worse before you get better, right? And that's very, very difficult, I think, when you're learning how to improve, how to embrace those things. But he did that. I mean, he was willing to put in the time, never got too up, never got, too down, and really, really trusted the process. But it was those things, I think, kind of the strength, the balance, the one motion. I think his footwork improved immensely. I think even the other thing that, he did this year, I think he became more of a 3-level scorer this last year than he was even the year before. We were able to post him. We call him Barclays, but dribble downs. He was able to take advantage of mismatches as a passer, as a scorer. So I think he just became so much more creative, confident, and powerful even in the way he played. He got his athleticism into the game a lot more.
And we spend so much time talking about these players, like, oh, they do this well, they do that. Let's talk about him as a person. Like,
Yeah.
you see him as a young man and how he's developed too. Like, tell us a little bit about him as a person.
Guys, I mean, and again, like, coach teams, we've had 3 straight guys, going through this, and teams are going to call, and they always know, the coach is going to tell you how
Sure.
great of a person he is. I can't even emphasize that. You guys have no idea. This kid is just one of the best human beings I've ever been around. My children love him. I think my wife likes him more than me. I mean, everybody, you name it. I mean, just the fans. It doesn't matter if you're 80 years old, if you're 6 years old. He's going to give you all the time in the world. He's going to make you feel like, you've known him forever. He's going to be unbelievably respectful. His mom and dad, Akai and Angel, are just some of the best people you've been around. So just an incredible person. Yeah, I can't even tell you guys how much you're going to love him there in Sacramento. And I don't take those things for granted. But he's a better person than he is player.
That's special.
Yeah. And how special is that for you as a coach to be like, wow, like I saw him maybe when he was broken at his lowest, and here he is being drafted in the first round of the NBA.
It's hard, being there last night. It's just those things never get old. When you watch somebody you really love and you care about, that just, I don't want to get like, but they give you everything every day in the way that they do it, and then to see them talk about it and reach their goals and dreams is really, really incredible stuff. That's what it's about. It's why you do, what you do. And so I'm so excited for him. And, this is just the next step for guys. It's one thing that now to get the opportunity to do this is incredible. But now then the other work starts, and he knows that. And he celebrated last night, but now I'm sure they're going to have him in the summer league here in a week. He's got media. I mean, it's time to go. So the team drafts you and puts a lot into you and belief. And now you got to go and do the work and produce. And he knows that. He's a consummate professional. But hey, when your best players are your best people, great things happen.
I want to get a coach's perspective on this more, because this is something we
What?
talked about too, because it's like the one knock, and I always push back on it. The one knock on him is, he's 23. As if it's like ancient. But
Such ageist over here.
but,
all these people.
Well, the draft, a lot of people want the 19, 20-year-old. What do you make of that discussion when it's like, hey, like he is 23, his ceiling is this? What's your thought on that?
I get it,
Yeah.
but I've watched young people my whole life, but how much did he improve between 21 and 23?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So to think that somebody can't improve from 23 to 27 is crazy to me. That's not, I don't, they're still really young, and I don't understand that. I think that guys, if you have the right mentality and the right thing, guys constantly improve. I just think that's really short sighted. And, I don't know, look at the guys in the NBA right now who are producing. And a lot of times it is about maturity, consistency, guys who have proven that they're willing to do the work to get better and then can improve and can practice intentionally. I mean, there's a lot of guys, and you'll hear them, that will be in, look at the drafts the last 10 years, that, potential is one thing that's really important, and
Sure.
talent,
Yeah.
but there's also productivity. There's also, I mean, I can go on and on. And so I push back on that. I think that everyone's, unique. And plus these teams, they want men too. This is
Yeah.
a man's league. This
Yep.
is not for boys.
Yeah. No, and it's
And
it's
and
so
so you got
true.
to have a maturity too, and toughness about you, and a consistency to be able to play and produce, on that level. And so that doesn't mean you can't do that if you're 19, 20
Yeah.
as well. But Nique's still a young player. He's 23. He still can improve a lot. I know that, and the great ones do. So I just think I think that's short sighted to say that.
Yeah, we don't love that narrative, and also it's everything that you're saying, especially if the personality fits of like a winning mentality of being a someone that is willing to put in the work to do the right thing. And sometimes it just depends on the situation
Yeah.
that they get put in, and you see this special play when you have the right type of person. And from everything that obviously you've been saying, what we've been reading, it sounds like he has the perfect personality for I guess just more growth and development as he continues his journey in basketball.
Absolutely. I agree with that. Everyone's journey is unique that way. And that's what makes it so cool. And his has taken on a life of its own, but he's right where he's supposed to be. And he'll do great. I have no doubt he'll do great. You guys will love him, and he'll get there ready to work. I think it's a great situation for him to get into as well.
Last one I want to get to.
Okay.
You have another Sacramento tie. You were part of the Minnesota basketball program when Bobby Jackson played there, and now you're back at Minnesota as the head coach. Congratulations on that.
I didn't play. I was a manager here, Jay, but so I wish I could play with Bobby. Holy cow. But I still keep in touch with Bobby. It's funny. We go way back, even when he was with the 76ers that year, the 76ers had training camp out at Colorado State. And so I owe Bobby a phone call back actually from a couple weeks ago. So he's probably upset I had played, and yeah. So Bobby's just an unbelievable guy, man. He's an unbelievable guy, talented coach. I know you guys are happy to have him back in Sacramento, and it hit me last night too. I'm like, that's really cool for Nique. I think Bobby will be great for him and the staff. And I think it's exciting. It's a new staff at Sacramento, new tenure, and you're coming in. I think it's really exciting for him. But yeah, Bobby's got the Minnesota ties here and whatever. And I know you guys are fond of him as well.
Well, we appreciate the insight and wish you the best of luck. And congratulations to you, man.
Congrats.
You played a big role. I know there's so many people that have a role when someone makes it to the league too. It takes a village, family, support staff, coaches, and of course the player. So congratulations to you too, and good catching up.
No, I appreciate that. Happy to help anytime, and go Kings.
Yes.
Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo. They tell you what they know. Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo. The podcast that you know.